Fed up of chasing leads that you can't ever get hold of, and the ones that you do get hold of don't ever even remember filling in their details and therefore never even come into your clinic. So it makes running ads on Facebook just seem like a complete waste of time. If so, in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the steps in which you can do to increase the lead quality, get hold of more people by taking them off of Facebook and not relying on Facebook forms, which you may have been doing right now. And even if you're sending people to a landing page, I'm going to show you a new way, which is working way better, where you're getting conversion rates of leads to people booking in over 80% by using this funnel setup. And I'm going to walk you through this step-by-step process. And then at the end, I'm also going to give you how you can get the whole setup of this completely free. So let's go into the full build out first of all, and then we'll explain about the next steps and the changes that we actually make. So here we are in my test ad account. So then what we do from here is we're going to create a new ad. We're going to go leads campaign because we are running local traffic. I'm going to leave all the name conventions. I'm going to leave all of this alone because I just want to come to this bit, make sure we've got it set up on instant forms first of all, and I'll explain the next steps. And then in here, this is where typically what people do is set up the form. So we've got test form in here, which you'll be able to see. But this is typically what a lot of people do, is that they will run these ads, will run ads on Facebook to their clinic using a form. Now, a lot of people switched to that 3, 4, 5 years ago when there was a whole iOS update. We couldn't get much tracking, or the tracking wasn't as good, then going to a landing page. So a lot of people then switched to a form because we could actually see how many people completed a form, and it kept everything on Facebook. It was much easier. It was a much simpler process. And ultimately, yeah, that worked. That worked really, really well. However, some crucial things with forms that you may have found. That forms are great, and Facebook are doing a lot to make the changes to the forms. So they are adding a bunch of different things in. So if I go into the form, then we can see in here that we want people with higher intent. So it will require people to verify their phone number before they actually become a lead as well. They do a bunch of different things. So you'll see in here as well, we have different things set up, and this will change depending upon what setup you have on Facebook as well. So we can add your credibility. So we can add some like reviews and things like that in here. We can add like the social proof in here as well, so the reviews from people. We can add incentives to make people complete the form. So Facebook are doing a lot. They want us to do well on here. However, you may have found on here, what I see a lot of clinics do is they come into here and they create a form, and in the form they just keep it really simple. They want more volume. They then go on to the next step, and they're just going to do something about their clinic. So this one's saying something about fitness at the moment, but they might put something about clinic name in here, and then like we've been seeing a ton of people dealing with load of people dealing with X, and then they just leave all of this like this, go on to the next steps, and just ask for their name, email, and phone number, because that's all we need. That makes logical sense to just be asking for that. And ultimately, that's what we want. That's what we want to do, to be able to get hold of someone. However, by doing this makes it really, really simple for someone to become a lead. First, that we're keeping it all on Facebook. Therefore, they don't need to go off to a second platform. They're not clicking through. And it makes everything really easy. So then when they land on this form, people also may have set their Facebook up 15, maybe even 20 years ago now. So then that holds that historical data, and typically what you see is it will pre-fill the information on Facebook and Instagram from what people have. Sometimes you will have it on here that people can make sure that it doesn't pre-fill their information, and that just varies from account to account. As you can see, I do not have that in my account. So therefore it's sometimes it just pops up or pre-fills the information. Now, the issue with that is if people set up their account a long time ago, it may have an old email or an old Facebook phone number in there or something, which you used many years ago. My brother had this exact issue the other day where he's moved to Australia, but it had his UK number in there. He was like, what do I do? And we were trying to set stuff up. So it holds that. So therefore, people may just fill it in really quickly, not even think about it, and think, oh, I've got that. And then all of a sudden, their details are with you, and you're like, great, I've got a lead, I'm going to give them a call. which then when you give them a call, if you get hold of them, first of all, then people may say, who are you calling from? I never filled in my details. I don't remember doing this. Believe me, you've probably had those people. So then you're like, this is annoying. These people, they put in their details. What do I do? Most of the time, because most clinicians are very nice people and your front desk staff. So they say, I'm so sorry for bothering you, and leave it. And that's it. That's really like what most people do. And that's absolutely fine. But this is the issue with forms on Facebook. So the second issue is most of the time you can't even get hold of these people. That you're getting hold of a real small percentage of people who fill in this information, even though they've given you their phone number as well. So you can try several times, but you never end up getting through to people. Because again, we've made it really, really simple, and there isn't really a good follow-up process typically in place for a lot of clinics with this as well, especially if you're starting to run ads for the first time. So they're the first two main issues of doing the forms on Facebook. The other one is then you might get wrong numbers because people may have changed their numbers. So therefore, you've got someone's old number, or people think it's a bot and things like that. And it may be, but it's just we need to verify the number. The number is actually still in service and is going to that right person as well. So there's loads of different issues then when we look at these forms. We can even then add more questions to this. But again, it's the simplicity of doing the form on Facebook, which is what generally will decrease the lead quality. And I always say this with a caveat as well, is that we need to define what good or bad lead quality is, because it's very easy to just say these leads are really bad quality. We can't use those people. We can't get hold of them. And that's a really easy thing to say, and say Facebook ads don't work for me. However, who is that actually going to help? Because yes, the lead quality may be poor, and that's what we're going to show you how to improve today. However, it's then we've got to look at the other aspects around that, being what is your speed to lead, what is the follow-up process, what are people actually saying when you do get hold of people, like on the phone, what is your front desk team saying, what is the script they're following, what is the offer you're actually presenting, is there a mismatch between what you're saying on Facebook versus what people are saying on the front desk? We've got to factor in all these different parts of it. So we've got these key metrics that we should be looking at to make sure that we know and we are fixing the right bottleneck. So typically we want to be getting hold of 60% of all leads. If you're not, then there are a few things that we need to change to make sure we are getting hold of the leads. And we need to make sure that it is a lead quality issue rather than anything else. So make sure we are getting hold of the leads within 5 minutes where possible. And if people do come in overnight, which typically does happen, a lot of clinics, and this is going to be a complete other video, but a lot of clinics think, leads come in overnight, they're terrible quality, I'm never going to be able to get hold of them. Why are people coming in overnight? Are they shift workers? Things like this. But as a dad of a 5-year-old and 1-year-old, let me tell you, when you are up at night with a 1-year-old and your back is hurting because you're sat in bed trying to get them back to sleep, and your back is hurting, and you may be scrolling on social media and an ad pops up about someone who may be able to help your back, what are the chances? It's meant to be. And that's what a lot of people will think as well. And that's just not parents, but that's people who can't sleep because they've got a banging headache, which they always have, or neck pain or knee pain. You get the point. I thought I'd jump in real quick. If you're finding this helpful, then all you need to do is go into the description below, click the link to join our school. In our group, you'll land on this page where you can get started with a 7-day free trial. In there, once you're on the inside, then I will walk you through this whole process. You can see all of the other clinics and the results that we're getting for them in here. You can speak to them. You can see all of the videos that they're creating, all the ads that they're creating. But importantly, you can get the full step-by-step done for you, the scripts, everything just to use straight away. If you want to get started with a 7-day free trial, click the link below and I will help you out on the inside. So that's not always the issue, but that's for a complete different video. So we need to factor out of those points to know that we are getting hold of the leads quickly, and we do have a good follow-up process, and the leads that we do get hold of, then we are following the script to be able to get them in. Now, if we've got all of those in place, yes, there's increased lead quality if we're not getting hold of 60% of them. And that's then the whole point of this. So even when we put in questions, being we're asking multiple choice, short answer questions, things like that, then still people would still find issues in terms of actually trying to get hold of people. And that's a typical thing. So if you know that you are struggling to get hold of people, if you know that you are running forms on Facebook, then the first step is always to You can add more questions in, which is just a logical step. You can, of course, ask to verify the number. Typically, what I see with this is not amazing. Like, you do get a huge drop off people from that. I'm not a massive fan of it. We've not seen the best results. So then what is the next step? We take people off of the platform. We get way better data from doing this, and we can increase the lead quality. So let me show you what that is. For right now, we are using Perspective. So perspective.co, great setup. And by doing this, we are able to increase the lead quality massively. Couple of reasons why I like Perspective is just the layout of it. It's really simple. It's really nice to see. And it's really user-friendly from people visiting on mobile. So the way in which we set this up is you're just going to ask a bunch of different questions on here, which is going to make it essentially more hoops for people to jump through. So then it becomes harder to become a lead. So you're going to ask 6, 7, or 8 questions, and this will vary depending upon the leads and your location. And this is just something that we will shift because we want to get the best leads in the minimal amount of time, or the minimal work for them. So by asking more questions, we make it way harder. By asking less, we make it way easier to become a lead. We want to find that middle ground where we're going to get the best leads for the least work for them, which may be you might just go straight to asking for their details on Perspective as an example, or you may need to ask more questions, and that's what we would look at to know from the data that you collect what is going to be the best setup. So a simple one, straight off the bat, is people will land on this page. Don't worry about the offer or anything like that. But then you ask real simple questions. I always like to do a simple yes or no question, first of all. So we're just going to get the ball rolling. We're going to get that train going. So we don't want people to think, first of all, we want them to have that sunk cost fallacy that they think, oh, I've already started and may as well continue. We want them to get going. Whereas if we have a big thing here, which puts them off straight away, they're never actually going to get going. Whereas we just want them to get started. So real simple question, first of all. And then after that, we are asking, like I said, between 6 and 8 questions. Typically right now is what we're seeing work really well. 6 to 8 questions, which pre-qualify them and pre-frame them ready for us to give them a call. That simple. So they are answering a bunch of questions before they ever even become a lead. Therefore, when you're speaking to your front desk or whoever you have doing these calls, they can see that we are getting high quality leads. They are jumping through many different hoops before we even get their leads details. Therefore, you can see that we are getting high quality leads. And it just becomes, to what extent, how many questions do we ask before it becomes absolutely ridiculous? At what point do we ask in a question, what is your passport number? And it's just got no relevance. Whereas we need to ask specific questions, which seem like we are trying to help them out, which are just increasing lead quality. So that could be things such as the issue they're dealing with, how long they've been dealing with it, like all kinds of different aspects, which would help us actually diagnose and help them with their issue. So once people have been through those 6 or 8 questions, we know all about them, we've got a higher lead quality, they jump through many different hoops, they then land on this page in which you're going to ask for their details. So we have it set up something like this. So it comes onto this, we have a short video explaining about the next steps for them, and then they pop in their details into here. When they pop in their details, this does something very, very good as well. So once someone has popped in their details, a crucial thing happens on here. As you can see, this green tick, that is verifying their phone number and their email address. These aren't my phone numbers and email. This isn't my phone number and email, so don't try and email or text it. But this will verify it. So if this is not the right, because this is just a preview one, if this is not the right one, it will come up with a big red X. It will do the little shaky thing to make sure that they are putting a verified phone number or email in here. Then from here, they book in their time, and then you can give the call. Okay, give the lead a call. On that next page, then you can send them to your online booking. You can send them to more about you, things like that. Crucially as well, we also have a map in here so they can see. So this is just where I am in Winchester. So they can see where your clinic is. So we are getting way more information. We are getting verified leads by going through this Perspective funnel. And this works much better than using any other type of funnel which you may be using right now. You may think, oh, we'll just do it on Go High Level or anything like that. This works really, really well. The reason why as well, perspective, it links really easily into Go High Level, and it links really, really well into Facebook. So it's a really seamless process all the way through. I'm a big fan, but hopefully you can see by doing this, we are finding out way more information about the lead. We are then verifying their email, verifying their phone number. They've jumped through 8 different questions. We know about their issue. We know about how long they've been dealing with it. We know about like all these different factors which could be a big influence in them. They know about the next steps, what's going to be happening once they come into your clinic or once they speak to you. They know exactly about the offer. So when you speak to them on the call, they have already told you like when they want to call. They've already given you all this information. So then when you give them a call, it makes it way easier. And you can make that phone call way quicker because we're just straight into it. And essentially you can be like, right, we know everything about you. We're going to be a great fit. When are you free? It's that simple. It makes it way easier to follow up through text messages as well. So if you're not using the perspective funnel, I would highly recommend it. You can get a link to below this video and you can get a 30-day free trial just following the link rather than the usual one that they give. So I'd highly recommend setting this up, getting started with this. And if you want my help, follow the link in the description below and you can come into our group and I'll give you a free trial into that, and you can see the whole setup on what we do, the questions that we actually ask, and then therefore the script that we use when we speak to people on the phone. And you should be able to get more leads at better quality. Ultimately, that's what we want. We don't want poor leads that we're never going to be able to get a hold of. We want better quality leads, and that's what you're going to get from running these perspective funnels. So I'll see you on the next one.